Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Ham Radio Basics Live, Season 4, Episode 7, Ham Radio News and Updates, 2/11/2026. Hope everyone is doing well. Cooley is here. Andy is here. Welcome, guys. Hope you guys are doing great and having a great day today. One of the things I wanted to kind of start off with, okay, it's usually a day in the life of, sometimes you have significant days. James, welcome. Thanks for stopping by today. You have significant days, and welcome to those of us that are watching on X, and you're more than welcome to join the chat. You know how to do that. You click on the YouTube link in the pinned video there, and it'll get you directly into the chat, and we welcome you. We love having you guys in the chat. It's been great. As I said, usually, some days are more important than others. Well, this one is kind of like, yeah, it is a little bit more important than other ones here. And one of the things I wanted to go ahead and share this with you here, this post that I made on Facebook, is today is our 15th wedding anniversary, okay? And it's a significant milestone. It's a significant milestone for both of us. We've both been married before. We really, this time, believe that we hit home runs. Well, we're still here 15 years later. So number one, yeah, I would say, I think she's going to keep me, and I know I'm going to keep her. And what's real funny is, Valerie got me one of the best anniversary gifts I've ever received before. It was a scented candle. I said, "Oh, this is real nice." And then what the saying on it was, it said, "We've been putting up with each other's SHIT for over 15 years." And it really, it's very humorous, but you know what? It's so true, because that's part of a marriage, is give and take, and you put up with the other one puts up with you, and you everything ends up being hunky dory here. And usually, as long as I see things her way, everything goes smoothly in the house. So, but no, I can't tell you what an incredible blessing she is to me. It's just, my life has changed forever the day that I met her, and it just really was it's just been absolutely incredible. Her family is my family, and her daughter is my daughter as well, and it's just, and her kids are my kid, or my kids are her kids as well. And, we love each other so much, and we're there for each other. We support each other. We encourage each other. And, as I've told her often, I was married before, and I told her, I said, you know what? I didn't know that a marriage could be fun. Well, this is something that I can definitely say, yes, there are no dull moments. Okay. For example, okay. Well, it was probably a few years ago in our previous house, 10 o'clock at night, and Valerie's turning the TV on. And I said, "What are you watching?" It was the Autopsy channel, okay, where they reenact famous autopsies, okay, at 10 o'clock at night. I said, enjoy. And I went into my den to process videos and stuff, to do stuff for the channel and everything. But I was just like, I was beside myself. I was laughing so hard, okay. But no, that's who she is. That's a wonderful part of who she is. And I absolutely love it. And we went out this previous Saturday for a very nice meal at Melting Pot. If you guys have heard of Melting Pot before, very romantic setting, very nice. And, the thing is, our anniversary is 3 days before Valentine's Day. So we got to be careful where we go and when we go and everything, because I know with Melting Pot, they do have an upcharge there. And, you don't want to go when they have, like, if we got a week later, we couldn't have gone a week later, it'd been Valentine's Day. They upcharge for special rooms that they have. They have like more private booths there, and they upcharge for them and everything. So enough of all that. All right. Got two things we're going to kind of focus here in today. And, first one, we're going to talk about Hamcation. And, I'm unfortunately, just because the way things are and everything, absolutely, I cannot go this year. We wanted to, but we can't. And there's just not enough time in our schedules. Our schedules are just so stinking busy right now. We just don't have the time to do that. I really want to do it. It's so close. It's an hour. Everybody says it's Orlando's only 60 miles away. Well, no, on the crow flies, yet maybe, but realistically speaking, it's about an hour and 45 minutes to get there. And more often than not, it's because of Disney. All right. Yeah. So, but we're going to spend some time going over that, and I'll give you guys some tips and everything, especially those of you that haven't been as well. And James, congratulations for that. That's awesome. I'm glad you were able to do that on the 5R Mini. Fantastic. And that is a great radio. That's absolutely, it's one of the best I think Baofeng's ever put out. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you, James. I appreciate that. Okay. I'm going to go over and spend some time go over this, and then there's another subject that I want to cover as well as we kind of wrap things up here. As you know, Hamcation, and it's going to be this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I think it's called the Central Florida Fairgrounds and Expo Park, and it's in the we'll say it's in the less desirable section of Orlando. Okay, there are not a wonderful sections in Orlando. That is not a wonderful section of Orlando. I'm just going to put it to you like that. Okay. The splash page here, and what they do is they also had a event info, and you can look at like they had different hotels that you can go to and list different ones. Here's a map right here, which I think is fantastic, and it's not gonna blow up for me here. I wish it would, but let's see, maybe if I can switch screens here and do that. I'm going to switch screens, see if I can get this up here. Let's see, window. There we go. Okay. All right. Good deal here. All right. Well, you come in right here where the St. Peter Parish Boulevard right here. That's your main drag that you come in on. And more often than not, where you see these parking spaces over here to the right, they used to let people park right here where these big empty lots are, but they don't anymore. Usually they only allow you to park. It's kind of like up to about here. So there's not really a lot of parking over to the right when you come in there. So pretty much expect that, like when you get there, for those of you that are going, you're going to park over to the left, and they direct you over here to this area. Now, you have to be careful, and this is one thing. It's full of ruts. It's very easy it would be real easy to trip and fall over there, or maybe possibly break your ankle or leg or something like that. So be extremely careful. And also when you drive very slowly through this area because of that. Now, what they do is they have what looked like a framework in these, for lack of a better term, these tents or these awnings. In some of these parts, you can see probably like down here at the bottom, there's some. It's like a framework kind of a structure for part of these here. But these are the places that you park in, and this goes all the way up against the main drag, the boulevard up here, and it's not a bad walk. I mean, it really isn't a bad walk. You just got to be really careful that you don't hit any of these potholes when you're walking, because they're everywhere right there. So you just got to be really super, super careful. Now, where if you did not purchase tickets in advance, you would go to where number 5 is right here. That's the main ticket booth. If you did purchase tickets in advance, you walk all the way down here, okay, down to where it has handicap parking down here, and I think it's the east. What's it called? Gate ticket booth will call. Okay, where it says 5 and 6. That's where you walk in. If you purchase tickets in advance, this is where you walk in, and that's almost always where I've walked in as well. I last time stood in line like right here, like a real smart individual. I'll just say that, and waited to go in there. And no, you need to go down the other end. So it's like we had to hoof it down there. But what's nice is you can walk right into the East-West Hall. In the East-West Hall, it's the main building there, okay? This is where everything transpires. I mean, it's like this is where I would say 99% of all the vendors are going to be. You're going to spend most of your time in here. And it's also, too, if you haven't been to Hamcation and say you've been to Hamvention, it's a lot more compact. It's not as it's not as spread out like Handvention is. So the vendors have smaller areas to set up in. So, plus, with all of that, there tends to be congestion there. And one of the things that I highly advise people, if you can do this, okay, especially like on Friday when it opens up, or Saturday early in the morning. Sunday, not so much, because I think a lot of people are starting to leave on Sunday. But if you get there like 9 o'clock in the morning, there's going to be a log jam when you're walking in that building. And almost as soon as you get in the building, if you make a right over there, it's Ham Radio Outlet. They have the biggest probably vendor area there, and they sell a lot. They sell a lot of equipment, a lot of items there, and it's something that it just everybody ends up going there. See, this blows my mind away, especially now. I can see buying like specialty antennas, or some of or cables or things like that, and I understand that. But people go there and they're buying like these Yaesus and ICOMs and all this and stuff, and I'm like, why are you doing it here? Why don't you do it at home and have it sent to you? I mean, I don't know, maybe it's like the thrill of being able to take it. But then the other thing is, you either have to take it back to your car, so you got to walk all the way from the building back to your car over here, or you have to carry it around with you the day. Okay, let's say I buy a 7300. I don't want to carry that around all day, so I'm going to walk back to the car and then walk back there, and it's probably a good 20 minutes between the two. So no. It's like I don't. That's why I said it's one of my things is it's wonderful that HRO is there, that in the Gigaparts is there. DX Engineering isn't. They're up in Handvention, but for buying a major item, I'm going to do that from home and have it shipped to my home location. Thank you very much. So, but yeah, and like I said, most of the vendors are set up here, and it's tight quarters. And the one thing I can tell you is, like, if you go, like I said, like later in the day, there's going to be more room for you to be able to maneuver around in. And the other thing is, usually when you get there, and it depends on how they've set up the booths, and usually what happens is when you go in, pretty much over to the left, and it's been that way for the past few years, ICOM is set up. And of course, our good friend Ray Novak is there. And everybody, and more often than not, if you get, like I said, if you get there in the morning, everybody wants to talk to Ray. Who doesn't want to talk to Ray? He'll talk to everybody, okay? But there's a queue, there's a line. You got to stand up. I lucked out 2 years ago when I went. There was nobody standing in line. I walked right up to him. We talked for a while, and he knew me from Facebook and YouTube and everything. Just great guy, just great ambassador for our hobby. Just a wonderful guy, and just very, very knowledgeable, very helpful, very friendly. So you're gonna get, that's what you're gonna get with trying to meet Ray, especially early on in the morning. Everybody's going to be there. Everybody wants to meet him. Everybody wants to talk to him. And with something like that, like I said, you probably want to go a little later in the day, like noonish or so. Now, when you get down to Yaesu, they have, I found it's real interesting. I think Yaesu has a lot more people at their booths. And of course, these are all volunteers. And of course, John Crux was at Yaesu. I tried to go to talk to John, but every time I go to try to talk to him, he was doing some kind of an educational course for Yaesu, which is great that they're doing that. But it's like, I couldn't find him because he was teaching these courses. I never got a chance to meet him or talk to him. I really wanted to be able to do that. So, but no, that like is pretty much the 411 on the east-west hall that they call it. And like I said, it's a majority where a majority of the vendors are. Now up here at number 3, where you see this right here. Okay, this is where this is. Here we go. That's better. Okay. Number 3, that's where it's swaps, okay? And instead of like they used to hold, and you can see right here where I have my cursor right here, there's parking right here and tailgating. And some people are still set up there, but you're going to find a majority of the people that are doing your swap meet inside building number 3. Now, it's a huge building inside there, and it really pretty much houses everybody that you can think of in there. And you have everything from old tubes to batteries to old equipment. Everything you could think of under the sun is in there for a swap meet. So that's absolutely fantastic. Now, number 2 is North Hall. North Hall does have a few vendors in there. They also have a place where you can purchase extra raffle tickets. So hint, if you want to buy some extra raffle tickets to win some prizes, you can do it. You do that over in Hall number 2. Now, right across from the east-west hall and where it has 18 and 16, that's the main area where the food vendors are set up. And, they have a really decent selection of food vendors there, but be prepared to pay $20 for a hot dog and a Coke. Okay. That's pretty much a going rate for that kind of stuff. That's just the way it is. That's just one of the things that you're going to have to live with when you go to this. But that's what, that's what you kind of get there with that. Now, a lot of people do take their RVs there. I don't know. I know Jason went from Ham Radio. You know what I mean. Jason has when he went last time, he brought his RV and he parked there, and apparently rates are pretty reasonable. Apparently, a lot of people do that. So that's a nice setup area. They have full hookups there and everything. So if that was something in a future hamcation you're looking forward to, that'd be something that you'd want to inquire into doing. But yeah, that's pretty much it. These are pavilion forms, and over here where the pavilion forms are, that's usually where they have like the educational courses right up here, number 4. So, and again, all this is on the map that's on the website. And one of the things I would do if you're unfamiliar with there, it's so compact, and it really is not spread out like Hamvention is. So it's very easy to find things. Like I said, 99% of your vendors are in the East-West Hall, and that's where you're going to find them there. And one of the things I found out, especially from some of the smaller vendors, they will talk to you like ad nauseum, and and they will talk to you until you probably run out of battery with your phone or with your microphone or anything. They're very friendly. They're very nice. In fact, I met the people from Alabama. What's the Hamfest in Alabama? I'm trying to remember the name of that. Everybody, I know it, but that's kind of where it's at. Waypoint, welcome. Thank you for stopping by today. Appreciate that, my friend. Good to see you. Huntsville. I'm sorry. There had people from Huntsville there. They also have people from Dayton there as well, and kind of helping to promote their hamventions, so to speak. The Huntsville people were extremely friendly, very nice to talk to. And one of these years, we're going to get ourselves together and go to Huntsville. It's also a great place to do touring, especially if you've been into the space program. There's a lot with that there. So let's go over. I'm going to go to some other parts of the website here. Let me get back here to this. Okay. Let's see what we can find here. Okay. Now, you can also go out to the website and you can actually see who's going to be attending there. And, list, of course, always subject to change. You can tell, there's a lot of people that are going to be there. Let's see. Alpha Antenna will be there. Budapest will be there. I'm trying to pick out some of the bigger names that'll be there. Huntsville Hamfest, they're going to be there. Radio Society of Great Britain, which is interesting. Yaesu will be there. Let's see. DX Engineering is going to be there this year. Wow, that's a surprise. That they weren't there the previous ones that I've been to. Of course, Dayton Hamvention will be there. Flex Radio will be there. HRO will be there. Healthcare Hams, that's interesting. ICOM, of course, Kenwood. Melbourne Hamfest, that's interesting. Quicksilver Radio, that's a great place to pick up a lot of odds and ends. Absolutely, I've done a lot of business with them. Signal Stuff will be there. Spultena will be there. Youth on the Air. ARRL, of course. Diamond Antenna. Elecraft. Gigaparts. Ham Radio Prep, World Radio League. If you guys get a chance, stop and talk to James, who's the founder of Ham Radio Prep and World Radio League. He's just such an incredible individual. I've had him on a couple of times. I've had Jim on, who they call Professor Jim. He's fantastic as well too. That's an organization I can't say enough nice things about. They really are just so pro ham radio and have really helped get a lot of people get them their licenses and get them passed. So if you get a chance, just stop by and say hi to them. They're fantastic people. Radio Club of America, Elmer Brand, TN07 Engineering. They make great antennas, by the way. And they make great concealed antennas. Wolf River Coils is there. So, and you can take a look. You know, there's some other things out there as far as what the prices are. You know, that normally that's kind of subject to change. So for something like that, that's one of the things that I'm going to kind of point you in that direction here. Okay, let's see here. Okay, one of the other things. Now I'm going to kind of switch gears here a little bit, and I don't know if you've heard a lot about this or not, but the future of ham clock is up in the air. Now, you guys know what ham clock is, and I'll go ahead. Let me go ahead and bring that up first. So I should have done that first. So my bad on that. Because I know some of you guys, some people are new, and I want to make sure. Okay. All right. Here it is right here. You know, ham clock provides some incredible information to you. You know, it's meant to display on a large monitor, a large TV screen. Look at the numbers. It has information from satellites, from band conditions. Of course, you know, your call sign up there, the date, the time. Take a look at the propagation map, see how things are doing across the earth, and so forth. And you know, this one's actually here's a real good one. You know, it shows you a DX and DE right here. Shows you the sun, some other different information here, and again, how propagation is and where people are making contacts from. It's very useful information. Okay, you know, for those of you that may have not seen this before, and I actually, you know, that's something that I highly endorse and highly recommend that you get. Now, I think this was a couple of weeks ago. I'm not exactly 100% sure. And I wanted to go ahead, and I had a PowerPoint presentation, but I'm going to kind of share this and then I may go to that. Ham clock was created by Elwood Downey, who sadly recently became a silent key. Unfortunately, he committed suicide a couple of weeks ago. Following his passing, it was announced that ham clock has officially reached end of life status. There will be no further updates, no official maintenance, no long-term back-end support. What happens next? Ham clock depends on a central back-end server to supply solar flux and geomagnetic data, KNA index, DX cluster spots, map tiles, space weather information. The back-end server is expected to go offline around June 2026. When that happens, live propagation data will stop updating, DX spots may disappear, maps may fail to load, some panels will go blank. The software itself won't instantly disappear, but without data sources, it won't function as intended. The good news, the community stepped up. Amateur radio operators don't let great tools die easily. Two main projects are emerging. Open ham clock backend. This is a community-built replacement server designed to mimic the original ham clock backend, keep existing ham clock installations running, provide map tiles and solar data. If successful, the menus, this means you may be able to keep your current ham clock displays working, just pointed to a new back end. Best for operators who want to keep their current shack display unchanged. Okay. Open ham clock, modern successor. This is a complete rearranging of ham clock as a modern dashboard. It includes live DX cluster spots, space weather, PSK reporter integration, POTA-SOTA spotting, satellite tracking, browser-based interface. It's more flexible and future-proof, but it's not a direct clone. It's an evolution. Best for operators ready to move to something more modern. Okay. Final thoughts. Ham clock has been one of the most iconic shack displays in amateur radio. When the original project is ending, the spirit of ham radio, experimentation, collaboration, and community is keeping alive in new forms. The tool may change, The mission does not. Okay. Now, one of the things that I did see out there, and I'm going to go ahead and bring that other site up. Yeah, I have too, James. Absolutely, absolutely. It is. I mean, it really is. And I'm gonna bring this back up here. And this is a page I would if you're interested in ham clock. This is the group I would recommend joining. And as I'm talking about it, and I don't have it displayed, so let me go ahead and do that for you guys. All right, it's called Ham Clock Heaven, and Ham Clock is one word. Heaven. It's a Facebook group. They have 8,700 members, and they're great. They answer questions. There's no, they don't treat newbies differently than people who've been on this site for a long time. That they do a great job with that. You can tell that's an incredible wealth of information for you on that. I've joined a couple other ones, but this one seems to be very responsive to things, and I really like that. And some guys have tinkered around with some of the settings and made them look a little different there. So you're welcome to do that. But yeah, you want to probably book Hammark Heaven. I think that's a great that is probably one of the best groups out there on this. And again, it's really kind of sad what happened. I don't know his circumstances, but unfortunately, he took his own life, and that's all. The ending of any life is always sad, and that's just really kind of sad as well. So, but yeah, I wanted to go ahead and talk to you guys briefly about that to let you know that there are some things in the works. Now, I also read too that I saw a post in another group, and I don't know where it was last night, that talked about that actually said that, hold on, wait a minute, it isn't going to be end of life in June. The server's not going to end. Everything's still going to be fine. So there's a lot of conflicting information this time. I saw that after I put all this together. So, but I wanted to make you aware that people said that it still might be out there. So, bookmark this page on Facebook if you're interested in it. It really contains a great wealth of information, especially it's something as a ham. I think if you do DX at all, this is something that you want to get, because it shows propagation, the sunspots, KPA index. I mean, just everything that you could want to know about, being able to get on the air at a particular time, what the band conditions are, just everything. It's just absolutely fantastic. So that's something I would highly recommend for you guys. So I want to thank everybody for stopping by today. It's always a great day, and it's always great to see all you guys in the chat. Andy, Cooley, James is here. And Waypoint New England. Thank you all for stopping by so much. I really appreciate that a lot. And Andy, thank you guys. And as always, guys, it's a great day to make a QSO. 7-3s, everybody. Have a great rest of your evening.